Okay. So anyone from the British Virgin Islands already? No. Jimena, where are you from? I can see Jimena Vargas.
Yes, I'm from Costa
I don't know where
Rica.
she's from. Okay, good. Thank you so much. So we have somebody from Honduras and one from Costa Rica, and I think one more person from Mexico. Okay, well, the purpose of this meeting today, this webinar, is to discuss with you what we believe each national federation should have regarding strategic planning. We have read the information that you have uploaded on Warius. Each national federation is expected to upload your national federation strategic plans. And there were very few national federations who had one. And most of the ones that we found are not really strategic plans. There's a lot more, and there are many things there, but not exactly what a plan is. So I'm going to start sharing my presentation. Since I won't be able to see everyone, if you have any questions, any comments, just turn your microphones on and start talking, no problem. Okay, but if you're not going to say anything, please keep your microphones off. Carlos, please, I see that yours is on. Richard, okay, good, thank you. Good, so let me share my presentation. Here it is. Okay, I hope you can see it. Can anyone tell me if you can see the presentation, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Usually it takes, okay, good, here we go. Well, first of all, I'd like to discuss with you why we need to have this seminar. What is the purpose of this seminar? In the first place, strategic plans are extremely useful in sports administration. I'm sure the national federations that do have one agree with me that this is a very important document that you use to plan everything, including your budget. I mean, you have to define what areas you want to focus on, and these are the areas to which you will assign most of your budget. This is not a document to be kept in a drawer just because Will Archery Americas or Will Archery of your National Olympic Committee asked you to have one, to prepare one, and then once you have designed it, you put it aside, you don't look at it anymore until 4 years later. So please see this, the plan, the strategic plan, as something important, useful to your federation. And I hope to be able to explain to you and to show you why I say this during my presentation. Now, as indicated in the final assessment that all of you have, because I sent it to all the national federations of our 2021-2024 plan, we found out that most of the federations that show lower standards of performance, lower levels of performance at different areas, are the federations that don't have a plan, or those federations that believe they have a plan, but what they have is not really a plan. These are the federations that have lower standards of performance. So it is important that you see this as something to worry about. I don't have a plan. This is probably the reason why I don't have good results. My federation does not work well. We have many concerns, many things to solve, and we don't know how to do it. This is probably because you do not have a plan. I'm sure the National Federation representatives attending this meeting know now, because I sent this information 2 days ago, that there's a motion going to our extraordinary assembly on June the 14th on how to change the way we vote in Will Archery Americas. And one of the let's say, requirements for you to have an extra vote will be to be able to show that you have a plan, that the plan is correct, that the plan is working, that the plan is being implemented, that it is assessed regularly. So If you want to have one extra vote, make sure you have a good plan. And number four, most national Olympic committees, sports ministries, and Will Archery are making these plans now mandatory. So for many things, like if you're applying for some assistance, beginner's equipment, one of the requirements is that you show that you have a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're getting nothing. So see how many factors we have here pushing us forward, and forcing us to have a good plan in our national federations. Now, who is this webinar for? For you, of course, but this is for national federations that do not have a plan yet, national federations which do have a plan, but it needs improvement, clubs, provincial or state associations interested in building their own plans, and committees, commissions, and everyone else interested. We have here USA Archery. They have a very strong plan, but it is always good to hear from them. That they can share with us their experience. I know that it is not the same situation because USA Archery has thousands of archers, maybe more archers than inhabitants in some of your small countries. But Mary and Rod are here, and I'm sure they will contribute their experience also to this meeting we're having today. Now, what is the current situation we have in the Americas at this moment? In the first place, we need to understand the difference between a strategic plan and a training plan. Some of the plans that we found on Warriors that were uploaded by your national federations are just training plans. It shows how many days a week your archers are going to meet to train. It has a list of the tournaments you're going to have in the year. It has a list of the meetings your federation will have, but there's nothing looking at the future. It's just describing what is happening. And I'm sure there's no national federation here that is completely happy with the situation you have in the country now. And if you're not happy with where you are now, and you need to change things, then you need to start thinking about designing your plan, because there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can solve if you don't plan what you're going to do for the future. Now, there's a difference between solving present day issues, and that is what I found in most of the plans, versus planning to achieve goals in the future. So strategic planning means looking at the future and designing strategies, tasks to be able to meet the goal that we have set for the future. Now, some of the existing plans now are not really strategic plans. When I explain to you what a plan is, you will realize that, oh, what I have is not what I need to have. Some of the goals are not specific, very, very wide. We want to, win medals at the Pan American Games, and our federation was created only 2 years ago. So there are many other things you need to do first in order to think about winning a medal in 2 years, because this is a long process. Some of the plans do not match 4-year Olympic cycles. And you would say, why does it have to be, in the frame of an Olympic cycle? The reason, one of the reasons is that most national federations elect their boards right after the Olympic Games. So if you have a 4-year period, a 4-year term, it is great to have the plan and the term in office of the current leaders of the federation coincide, because you have designed the plan and you will be the ones implementing it. If you design a plan and 2 years later there's a new federation, then it would be difficult for the new federation to continue doing what you started doing 2 years before. Now, goals are defined, but there are no declared actions. So I have a goal, but I do not have in my plan what I'm going to do, what I plan to do in order to achieve my goal. And there are no ways in the plan, to measure the achievement. It is very important that you design a plan in which there are ways for you to measure how far you have gone, how far you have gone in the achievement of the goal that you have set. Don't declare goals. Some of the declared goals are not realistic. I remember a national federation in the English-speaking Caribbean some years ago. When they sent us their plan, it was a national federation that was created, that had been created only, I think, 3-4 months before they contacted us. Their goal for the 2-year period was to win a medal at the Olympic Games. This is totally unrealistic. So it is important that when you set your goals, you are realistic. You think about what is really possible. And if you work hard, you're going to be able to do this. But even if you work hard, there are things you won't be able to do in 4 years or in 3 years. Now, goals and tasks are combined as if they were the same thing. So the goal is what you want to have, and the task is what you're going to do to achieve that. So sometimes you see that they're combined under the same heading. And this is also important for you to improve. No time frames to declare. So there's no information about when you expect to be able to achieve a certain goal and when certain tasks are going to be conducted in order to achieve the goals. And there's no periodical assessment of the plan. So you need to assess the plan maybe every year, every 2 years, and see how far you have gone, if there are things that you need to change because the conditions have changed. So this is, I think, important also for you to take into account. Now, what is actually strategic planning? It is a tool that any group of people can use to proactively plan their future. Again, future. It is not describing what you're doing today. What you're doing today has to do with your mission, not with your vision, not with the future. It is systematic. It is there's a letter is missing. It is a systematic process of envisioning a desired future and translating this vision into defined goals or objectives and a sequence of steps to achieve them. So this first part is, I would say, theoretical, maybe. I'm giving you concepts for you to understand what we're going to address later in the presentation when we talk about how we can design the plan. Now, these are some general features of a strategic plan. A plan is a process, very important. When you think of a plan, you need to describe what is going to happen in the next 4 years, and this is a process. The definition of strategic goals with specific actions and resources to lead to their achievement. Okay? The participation and commitment of all stakeholders. This is not a plan only for the president of the federation to know. This is a plan to be shared with everyone. The World Archery Americas plan was distributed to all the national federations, to everyone, and it was published on our website. And the one we're working on now, which you will pass on June the 14th, will be the same. We'll send you the plan. You're going to have the opportunity to reply to us and say, we don't agree with this. We think this can be improved. So it is very important that we get everyone committed to working towards the achievement of the plan. You need to have steps to build a plan. Maybe you remember that a few days ago, I sent you our proposal of the focus areas. These are the 6 focus areas we want to continue working on. Do you have any comments? So this is the first step, discussing focus areas, and then we will go on to into more details later. Now, steps to implement the plan, and that goes in the plan as such. Okay, what are we going to do to implement what we have designed? Continuous assessment and adjustment. I think you know what assessment is, but adjustment means that if there are things that will need to change because the conditions are different. Maybe you had achieved good relationships with your National Olympic Committee, and you did not think it was necessary to include improving the relationships with the National Olympic Committee in the plan. But now there's a new president, and the relationships with the new president are not as good as they were with the previous one. So now you need to readjust your plan because you need to work on this establishment of good relationships with your NOC president. Communication and publication. Communication means everyone should know what is happening. We should inform everyone what we're doing to achieve the goal of our plan. And publication, it has to be a public document. It is not for me to keep it in my office only. Now, a plan is a system which integrates several components. And the word system means that the components are interrelated. So there should be a connection between the goal, the tasks, the way I assess the tasks, the reports I write, all has to be connected. And each part plays a key role in the achievement of the whole. So this has been, well, the difference between system and set is system is interrelation. Now, let's now go to the into more practical things. Number one, the strategic framework. You need to have a vision. This has to be present in every plan you have. And the vision is what describes a long-run objective. You look at the future. Where do you want to be 4 years from now in terms of the management of your federation, maybe in terms of results at events? All that is something that is a long-term objective. And it details where the organization aspires to go. Now, the mission is different. The mission is what defines the purpose, the reason why an organization exists. Why do you need to have a national federation? What do you do in order to justify that you're needed? And it includes the key market. Who? I mean, who do we work with? Who do we provide services to? And the organization's contribution, what it is that we do that makes our national federation necessary. And who do we work for? We work for our members, for our athletes, coaches, event organizers, and all possible stakeholders. Now, here we have a comparison. Vision is tomorrow, we talk about goals, and mission is today, what we do today. And it is also meaning. I mean, why do we exist? That's why I called it meaning here. Now, why it is important to define a vision, a mission, and values. Defining a mission, a vision, and values is key to creating shared directions and goals. If everyone knows what our vision is, why we exist, when I say everyone, I mean athletes, coaches, federation staff, federation leaders, everyone who has something to do with archery in your country. If they know what you want to do, they will commit themselves to helping, to contributing. Now, by using these strategic elements effectively, organizations can lead their members to succeed as they reach their maximum potential. So define your vision, define your mission, and your values. And I'll talk about the values now. This is an example of a vision and a mission. I think we used the same one 4 years ago at our presentation on the same topic. As you can see here, vision is to be the industry's leading sports company. That's in the future. We're not there yet. That's where we want to get. As a sports, I think they manufacture uniforms. Yeah, okay. And the mission is what they do now, is to provide, and in red, you have what we call let's go back here. Organization's contribution. That is what we provide. Okay, now who do we provide it to is what we have in blue. So the mission is to provide the world's best sports and fitness equipment, footwear, and apparel. To whom? To what we have in blue. Everyone from first-time participants to professional athletes. So this is an example out of archery. Now, this is an archery example, mission. This is World Archery Americas. It is a continental association leading the sport of archery in the Americas. Yours may be similar. What is World Archery Barbados, for example? It is the national association leading the sport of archery in Barbados, for instance. Now, why does it exist? And then you explain there in your mission what it is that you do. Okay, we work towards empowering the member associations to design and implement plans to achieve high levels of performance at continental and whole world championships and games, as well as towards making archery sport accessible for everyone in our member association. So this is not for you to copy, because nothing can be copied. It is only for you to have an idea how it is designed, how it is worded, okay? And our vision, this is the vision that we had in 2021. The one we're going to present now for the 2025 and 2028 period will be a little bit different, but I'm showing you what we presented 4 years ago. We think about the future where archery is seen as a popular sport in the Americas, where athletes from most of our member associations excel at major international events, and where World Archery Americas is recognized as an example of a continental sports organization by World Archery and multi-sports continental bodies in the Americas. And I think we were able to achieve half of our vision at the end of 2024. The second part, World Archery Americas is now one of the most highly recognized continental organizations in the Americas, with Pan Am Sports, APC, Central Caribbean Sports, Odesur. They look at archery and they say, well, archery is one of the best sports in terms of, not archery, World Archery Americas is one of the best continental organizations, because we're always submitting documents on time. We put together wonderful tournaments, all that. Now, but there's this first part that we need to continue working on. Now, values. What are the values? What is it that characterizes archery that we may take advantage of when we plan our future, things that we have already that would help us walk the pathway towards the future we want? So, definition of values: proven distinctive core beliefs, guidelines, and principles, assets that the organization treasures that will ensure the achievement of its goals. And this may have to do with the analysis of your strengths and what you have already that may help you look toward the future. Now, some examples, and this is what Archery Americas, I would say, is archery in general, is integrity, inclusion, teamwork, respect, honesty, and fair play. So that's why I see you have the two archers hugging there, because this is, I think, show respect and fair play among the athletes. Now, time frames, important. The plan should include dates and or time frames for the start of each task, the periodical assessment, and the conclusion of each task. Most of the plans we saw did not have time frames. We want to be able to do this and that or the other, but there's no mention there as to when you believe or when you expect to be able to achieve this. So the first stage, now, if you don't have a plan now and you want to start thinking, okay, I want to have a plan. We want to have a plan in, like, say, Trinidad. So what do we need to do first? First, we have to go through this process we call ideation, which is the initial stage of the process, and we need to brainstorm. this brainstorming is important, very important, because this is the time in which you start thinking about what you need to change in your federation. What is it that we have problems with? What do we need to change so that what we have now is not what we will have tomorrow? And this is a process that you can do. Maybe you bring people to maybe a think tank, and you have 10 people, and you start thinking about, okay, what goals do we want to achieve in the next 4 years? And what areas we need to, on what areas we need to work. Like me, I have 10 different problems, but I need to prioritize. What are the problems I'm going to be troubleshooting first, and then maybe for the next period, we will take care of others. But there's some that may be more important than the others now. So in this process, ideas will come to your mind as to how you can overcome challenges that you will probably identify when you do your analysis of your strengths and and weaknesses and threats and all this. All stakeholders should be encouraged to contribute. Don't make a plan in your office only and then say this is now approved and put it in a drawer. No, that's not what you need to do now. And you need to consider results of the previous strategic plan, if you had one. In World Archery Americas, maybe you read almost 100 pages of the report we submitted on the 2021-2024 period. And there were many recommendations at the end of the report, which we need to take into account for the next 4-year period now when we design our next plan. Now, it is important that everyone is committed. So we need all the stakeholders, archers, coaches, staff, judges, administrators, event organizers. They need to be committed towards the goals and tasks in the strategy. So this is important, and focus is also important. We need to focus on what is important. We need to focus on what's on the strategy. Not just, now change my focus to other things that were not included in the strategy, which are not so important, but I like to work on, I don't know, having a party after every competition. This is not in the strategy. So don't lose time and effort, on things which are not part of your strategy. Now, don't forget that this is a process, and the process is what renders an outcome. The process is what renders results. If there is no process, if the process is not planned, you're not going to go everywhere. Things are not going to happen just because. You need to plan the future. So do not expect results if you do not plan the process. Now, you need to set priorities. We know that there are some federations that if we ask them now, what problems do you have? They will come up with a list of maybe 10, 15 areas. But you can't work on 10, 15 areas in 4 years. So you need to define what the priorities are, what are the most important things that you need to solve. Maybe if you solve one of them, 3 or 4 more will be solved just because you solved this big one. And also very important, no one can identify goals and focus areas for you. So if maybe Phil, who most of you know very well, Phil knows probably the situation in every country in the English-speaking Caribbean, but Phil cannot tell you this is one of the goals that I think you should work on, because no one is able to identify the areas that you need to work on better than the people who are in the federation, because you know the context, you know what the challenges are, you know the present situation, you know the number of archers you have, you know the number of coaches you have, you know why you don't have many coaches, you know why you don't have para archers. So again, no one can do that for you. So don't copy anyone else's plan. Just create your own. Now, I'll talk now about the focus areas. And these are the areas your organization would like to focus on. I'll give you examples now so that you know what we're talking about. And things that we need to transform to contribute to reaching the desired state described in the vision. Now, the areas may vary from one country to another. That's important. I think we have explained this already. So this is not for, let's say, Trinidad to copy Bermuda's plan. It's not possible because we're talking about two different realities. And the focus areas can be general and may include more specific sub-areas within them. Now, here are some examples. Let's look at what we have on the screen. And maybe while you read, you can say, well, some of these topics or some of these areas are the areas I'd like to work on. And you can also say, well, there's a couple of extra things that I don't see here, I can't see on the screen, but these are problems we have and areas that we would like to focus on in the next 4 years. I would guess, and I would suggest that in most of our federations, we need to work on governance. And governance is a very broad term. It includes many things. We will have a webinar later in the year on governance, which hopefully most of you will attend. But I would suggest that you consider including governance as part of your focus areas. And then you want to be more specific when you discuss these specific goals. For example, in World Archery Americas in 2021, 2024, most of our governance goals and tasks were directed to improving the way we govern World Archery Americas here in Colombia, or the way our committees work. So it was mainly World Archery Americas as such. Now, our plan for 2025 and 2028 will be to subdivide this governance focus areas into two. One is our internal governance in World Archery Americas, and the second thing is how we can help our national federations improve their governance. And so you see, you are our members, you are the reason why we exist, and we would like to help more so that you're able to govern your national federations more effectively. Now, second thing, the second frame is membership services. And you will wonder, what is this? Well, actually, you have members in your federation because they expect something from you as a federation. This may be offering seminars or presenting awards or, I don't know, organizing tournaments for them. So there are many things you can do for your members, maybe assisting your clubs in designing their own plans, in having their own constitutions. So these are the services that you provide as a member association to your athletes. And for instance, I know that USA Archery, they have lots of online programs for many things, for training coaches, for educating judges. Now they're working hard on increasing the number of classifiers, national classifiers. So all of this is services that you provide to your members. Think about your members. Are they happy with the way the federation is managed? What do we need to do as a federation in order to, let's say, raise the level of acceptance, the level of, I can't remember the word now, the level of satisfaction that your members have with the work you do in a federation. Number three is development, from grassroots to elite performance. So as you can see, the terms are very general, but for each of these focus areas, you will then design specific goals and specific tasks. What are we going to do? When are we going to do this and that and the other in order to raise our development in the country? Para archery. This is an area also that we're going to consider as part of the requirements for national federations to have an extra vote. And that is because para-archery is very important. It has grown dramatically in the Americas. At present, we have about 20 countries with para-archery. We don't want to lose the ones we have, but we want to have more. So think about what's happening in your countries regarding para-archery. If this is one of the areas in which you want to, on which you want to work. We had a meeting a few weeks ago with our national federations, and I asked an open question: do you have para-archers? And there was someone who said, we don't have people with disabilities in our country. That is not possible. There are all sorts of disabilities. So it's sometimes we just say we don't care. This is not an area that we want to work on. But now, if you don't have para-archery, you won't be able to have four votes in World Archery Americas. Partnership, relationship with your national Olympic committees, relationship with your ministries of sports. If you don't have this, you're lost. You cannot think that you can run a national federation without keeping good relationships with your national Olympic committee and your sports ministries and companies. And so everyone who can contribute something to the success of your federation can be your partners. Okay? And then we have a few more, like promotional activity and marketing, events. How can we improve the quality of our tournaments? How can we bring more people to our events? So this can be another area. Coach and judge education. This can be also included within development from grassroots to elite performance. So as you can see, this is very relative. Some of the areas can be part of other areas as well. Organizational structure, this has to do with governance, how your national federation is structured, who does what. Does the president know what he has to do as a president? Does the secretary general know what he has to do as a secretary general? So this is also important to work on. Financial administration, also having to do with governance. Funding. Some people, we know if you ask them now, what are your main problems? Oh, funding. Funding is my biggest problem. And then we ask, how do you govern your federation? Do you have any partnership at all with your National Olympic Committee and with your sports ministry? No. So how can you get some funding if you don't, first of all, approach your National Olympic Committee? How can you get funding for an Olympic Solidarity seminar if you don't keep good relationship with your National Olympic Committee? Youth archery, gender equity, maybe having to do with governance as well, and many others that you can think of. This is not just a closed set of possible focus areas. There may be maybe 10, 20 more. All you need to do is to define which ones are the ones you want to work on. Now, for each of these areas, you need to analyze strengths, opportunities, weaknesses, and threats. A SWOT analysis, as you know. So, and here's an example for para-archery. We have 5 statements here. Let's analyze which ones are favorable, which ones are not. Most parents of disabled youths are reluctant to allow their children to do archery. And we had a situation in one of our countries in Central America about a week ago. The National Federation president told me that they have one archer, an under 21 archer, who is a para-archer, but his parents do not want him to travel international. So do you think this is a strength of your federation? Do you think it is an opportunity? Do you think it is a weakness? Do you think it is a threat? Threats and weaknesses, bad things. A weakness is internal, what we don't have in the federation now. And a threat is what is external, in the surroundings, what it is that is not really what we do or don't do in the federation that is threatening our development. And I would say that this case of parents of disabled youth not being willing to allow their children to do archery is a threat. So what can we do in order to sort of like counteract this threat? What actions are we going to take? I will maybe going to meet with parents and explain to them how good it is for athletes. For young people with disabilities to do a sport. Maybe we can bring a very experienced and successful archer from another country or from our own country to meet with the parents. So by being able to identify the threats, we can then come up with ideas as to how we can counteract them. Now, para-archery is in the program of the Para-Pan American and Para-Pan American Junior Games. Is this negative or positive? It is positive. So is it a strength? No, because it is not something that we as a federation have done ourselves. It is an opportunity. So the international arena, the international world of archery is giving us the opportunity to have more events internationally. So if we have these games, we can go to our National Paralympic Committee and say, archery is part of these games, so we would like to be part of the whole process. Can you support para-archers to go to these games? So we take advantage of the opportunities given to us. Now, another is Will Archery Americas pays special attention and favors developmental programs at national level. Is this positive? Yes, it is. Is it a strength? No, it isn't. For your national federations, it is an opportunity. Let's take advantage of it. We have 2 new para-archers, but we don't have bows for them. Let's call Will Archery Americas and maybe take advantage of the opportunity that we're being given so that we can request a donation of 2 bows for these archers. Now, number 4, the National Federation has national coaches and classifiers. Is this good or bad? It is good. Now, is it an opportunity or is it a strength? It is a strength because it is what we have as a federation. It is not something external to us. And archery facilities are not accessible for archers in wheelchairs. Is it good? Is it bad? How do we counteract it? Yes, is there anyone wanted to say something? No? So please mute your microphones. Okay. So now, for each focus area, don't worry, at the end I'm going to give you a summary, okay? For each focus area, define goals and tasks leading to their achievement. Very important. Measurable goals. An example is to reach a minimum of 12 para-archers competing in national tournaments in 2026 and 18 in 2028. You see, we have goals that we can measure. Number of archers, when we want to do that. I'm sorry, there's someone here. Let me see if I can mute. Allow me a second. Carlos, okay, Jose, you're talking and your microphones were on. No problem, you're all off now. So, the goals cannot be open. You need to set time and ways to measure their achievement. And we have, for example, here we have tasks. One of the tasks can be talks with potential para-archers and their parents to explain the benefits of archery for people with disabilities. When and to be run by who will participate. So these are some of the things we can do in order to achieve our goals. Just a second. Now, for each specific goal, we need to define the tasks to achieve the goal. First of all, we have a goal, and we can have as many tasks as necessary to achieve a certain goal. Tasks of all sorts. Now, we need to define participants, who will be responsible for that, date or time frame, expected results, what it is that we expect to have after we have done all this, and how to measure goal achievement. Okay, an example here of a specific objective and then task and all the information. You must have read it in our 2021-2024 plan. The bad thing in our plan in 2021 and 2024 was that we had the task first and then the goal. And it should be the other way around. First of all, we have a goal. And then to be able to achieve this goal, how many tasks do we need to implement? So I have changed the order. So what you have on the screen now is the correct order. First of all, objectives to get potential seminar participants better prepared for continental seminars. And then what tasks are we going to do? Online lectures, e-learning programs, and many other things. Participants. And then we have here who will participate. Will Archery America's Judges Committee, national federations, and potential seminar participants. Task completion time frame. And then we have when we want to do that. Expected results, accreditation of continental judges from 20 member associations in 2023 and 22 in 2024. Now, as you can see, there has to be a relationship between the expected results and the objective, okay? So we want to get them prepared so that, and the so that is the expected results, that we have such a number of judges accredited in 2023 and 2024. And we need to have, what is the way we're going to measure the achievement, exam results, and review of the Will Archery America's judges list to compare the list to what we expected to have. Okay, we now have 22 member associations. Do we have fewer than those? So what are we going to do, in the next plan in order to solve any issues in case we were not able to achieve our results? Now, you can have programs and projects which are not, which are in association with your plan. Like for example, your own coach training program. So if you have it, that can be something that can contribute to the success of the plan, like judge education, evaluation, and reaccreditation programs. We will dedicate one of our webinars to this, to judge education and evaluation, archery development programs in schools. But what we found out was that there were countries that submitted to us like the archery development program in schools as their strategic plan. And that is not it. We're talking about two different things. This archery in school program can be part of your strategic plan, but it is not the strategic plan. Sports leadership training program for federation, association, club, etc., and archery promotion program on the social media. These are all things that you can do. They can contribute to the plan, but they are not the plan. Now, assessment. We're coming to the assessment now. Once you have your plan, you have decided that this is the plan you want to have, you should conduct continuous assessment and adjustments because the conditions may have changed, because new tasks may have been suggested. We found out that what we did in the first year was not really successful. We need to maybe readjust and now include different tasks so that we achieve the goal. Timeframes may need to be adjusted just because something happened. For example, in our plan for 2021, 2024, we wanted to have international classifiers seminars, but Will Archery did not offer any. And even though we tried hard to have at least one, Will Archery said, they said, no, it is not possible now. So we needed to readjust our plan because there was a threat. There was something challenging what we have planned, and it is not something that we can solve. Partial task results may show that new actions may need to be implemented. So these are reasons why you would need to probably readjust. Here's an example of a partial assessment and measurement. One of the goals, one of the tasks was to design a system to confer awards to individuals or institutions for their outstanding contribution to archery in the Americas. And the goal was to establish a set of requisites. You have it there. I'm not going to read what you can see. And what I have at the bottom is the evaluation we made at the end of 2021 of the task that we had set. And here we have the task has been completed and final document has been approved by our council. It's been sent to all our national associations and it will be used to decide on awards to confer in 2022. So the level of achievement of this task is 100% because all we wanted to achieve, we achieved. Now, how to make qualitative measurements? Some of you may say, well, but how do I evaluate? How can I measure quality? Because it is easy when you can measure by just counting the number of judges you have, or counting the number of national tournaments you have, or counting the number of para-archers you have in a country. That's easy because these are numbers. These are things that you can count. But how can you assess? How can you give a value to, let's say, areas which are quality related? Is qualitative analysis. So you can use questionnaires or surveys with indicators and measurement scales. For example, the organization of the archery competition of the 2023 Pan American Games was, and I have this because one of our goals was to have a successful 2023 Pan American Games in the sport of archery. As you know, we wanted to come back to the games after we've been out for 8 years. So we needed to assess how good it was. And so we conducted a survey, and there were 5 possible options. Was it excellent? So if people said it was excellent, so it was 100%. It was good, 80%, acceptable, 50%. So we have turned quality into numbers. And this is what is going to allow us to make a measurement so that we compare this measurement with the goals we had set. Now, the final assessment of the plan, we include quantitative measurement and qualitative assessment of each strategic goal. And what do we include? We announce the degree of accomplishment. We provide data, charts, graphics, comparisons with previous plans in years. You can see that in the report we sent you of the 2021-2024. Don't be afraid. Ours was 100 pages, but it doesn't have to be that long. Now, remarks, you make comments about, you can explain why this did not happen, why we needed to modify this. So that goes to the remarks. What needs to be improved? I think it explains by itself what it is, and recommendations. So all of this is what you need to include in the assessment of each of your goals at the end of the process. Now, you need to socialize results with all the stakeholders. That's why all of you received our report. We gave you the opportunity to give opinions, to ask questions, to ask us to include more details. And then after all this has been socialized and we have the input of all the stakeholders, then we're able to submit the final report, which we sent to Will Archery already. Now, here we have a summary of the structure. This is, I think, what you needed. Some of you say, yeah, you talk too much, but can you summarize this? This is a summary. What do you need to do? You need to have a mission, a vision, and values. You need to have a context description. Okay, what is archery like, or what is the current status of the federation in Jamaica, for instance? And then you include there the strengths, the good things that the federation has and that you can take advantage of. There's an extra P there in opportunities, sorry. You describe the opportunities. What is external to you that as a federation that you can take advantage of? Like maybe their relationship in our National Olympic Committee recognizes archery, and the Jamaican Archery Association as a strong federation, as an organized federation. So we should take advantage that they have this opinion about us to ask for support. Weaknesses. What is it that we as a federation do not have, or what we have is not good enough? Like, for example, we don't have many, we don't have volunteers, people who volunteer to come to tournaments and help. So this is something that we need to work on in order to change the current status. And the threats, what is it? What are the challenges that we need to face from outside the federation? So all this has to go in the context description. And then you define general objective of the plan, which has to be in connection with the vision, of course. You define the focus areas, and you need to be, regarding the focus areas, you need to remember, you need to prioritize. What are some of the areas? What are the most important areas I need to work on? Is it funding now? If I don't have a structure in the federation, what do you think should go first? Funding to go to international tournaments, to be the last on the list of results? Or is it that I want to organize my federation? I have to improve our governance in the federation. And once our federation shows high standards of governance, then we can reach out to partners in order to get funding. Now, specific objectives to achieve in each area. And what do you need to have for each of the objectives? Tasks for each objective, time frame, participants and responsible persons, expected results and measurements. So these are, in a summary, in a nutshell, what you need to have in mind, to keep in mind in order to start working on your plan. You have to go through the process of ideation, that is brainstorming. Let's see, okay, let's analyze what we got from the webinar conducted by Archery Americas. This is a structure that we need to make all this land in our airports. I mean, to make it land in our reality, in my small federation, in my big federation. How do we adapt all this theory into practical ideas so that we can work on our own plan? And I have an example. We're all archery people, so I'm sure that the main goal of every archer is to hit the 10 ring consistently, is it not? And here we have a goal, hitting the 10 ring consistently. Now, if I want to achieve this goal, I'm going to think about what areas may allow me to hit the 10 ring consistently. Is it that I need to have buses to go to the training facility, or are there other things which are more important? So I need to prioritize. I need to decide, well, what is it that I need or first, and then I will think about other things. And there may be 5 focus areas, like having a good coach. This can be a focus area, or using high quality equipment properly set up and tuned, performing well under stress, that is mental game, being physically fit, having a great shooting form. So these are the areas. And of course, this is not a strategic plan. I'm talking about giving you an example of how the areas relate with the goal. And now for each of these 5 areas, the archer will say, well, how do I get a good coach? What do I need to do, or what does my country or my federation need to do to help me to have a good coach? And then I start working on my goals, my specific goals, who will do this and that and the other. The same for equipment, the same for the psychological training, the same for physical training, and for the shooting form as such. Now, I have now questions for discussion. And I'm going to stop sharing my presentation now, but take a look at the topics. How far are you now in the design of your own plan? No problem if you say I have done nothing. That's fine. Now you can do it. Have you defined your vision, mission, and values? Have you identified your focus areas? Have you defined specific objectives and tasks with dates, responsible persons, and participants to achieve them? Have you defined ways to measure levels of achievement? And the last question in a different color, how can Will Archery Americas assist? And for your information, an advisory group will be appointed soon, so that we're going to have a bunch of people who will help our national federations in reviewing their plans and then providing assistance as to how you can improve it and so on. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to mute someone who is not mute, Jackie. Okay, now you're mute, Jackie. And this is your time now. Anyone can talk. Are you scared? Is this too much? Am I talking about something that maybe you would probably think about doing in the next century because you're not ready for this? If you're not ready to do this, you're not a good leader for your federation. Because we need people who do not just go to the field and tell the archers, are you happy shooting? That's not what a national federation president or secretary general has to do. You're there to fulfill a role, and the role is to provide services to your members. So what can we do in order to help our members? Okay, Sanjay. Okay, now anyone. Sanjay said that his plan, he's working on the plan. Now, anyone, comments, say what you want, and we have people here who can help me answer questions and who can provide ideas. So who breaks the ice?
Hello, Sergio. This is
yes, Lisa. Go ahead, Lisa. Go ahead. Lisa is the president of the Bahamas Archery Federation.
Yes. The Federation, we have developed a strategic plan for 2024-2028 quadrennial. I don't know if you actually received it because I don't remember seeing a feedback, but if not, I would like to forward that on because we had developed a plan and, you know, we are in need of assistance in terms of critiques to find out whether or not we're on the right track. But based on what you presented today, we have the majority of those areas and focus areas. But what we did first, before the plan was developed, we did an assessment. We had asked the presidents of clubs to actually conduct self-assessment and also assessment of the federation, so we can determine now where do we move from here.
Okay, so Lisa, if you have your plan and you've been able to compare what you have with what we presented, and most of it is, you know, it follows the same format, because we're not going to tell you, as I said before, what areas you need to focus on. My suggestion was that all national federations should work on governance, and then the rest is what you decide. But if you've been able to compare that, what you have against what we have presented, and it is similar, that's wonderful. Now,
yes,
the point is that you've asked your members to give you feedback. Maybe they're not committed to helping the federation achieving a certain goal because they believe you're not prepared or something. So it is always important to hear from your members, and that's good. Thank you, Lisa. Now, once your plan has been, let's say, supported by your clubs and by everyone else, if you want if you want some review or maybe assistance from Will Archery Americas, we'll be prepared to help and take a look at your plan. The same as we will be able to do with your constitutions. If you would like us to review your constitutions, we'll be happy to do that. We're working on creating a group of people who will be part of this advisory group regarding strategic planning. Some are here, but they do not know they've been considered. We'll make the announcement next week. So feel free to ask for assistance, Lisa, not only Lisa, everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another, yeah, George. sorry, Eloy. Eloy is the president of the U.S. Virgin Islands National Federation. Go ahead, Eloy.
Everybody, yeah, we have a high level plan, courtesy of our.
Eloy, we can't hear you. Maybe you're too far from the microphone or something.
Can you hear me at all now?
Yeah, now it's much better. Yes.
Yeah, I want to thank you for having this webinar. We have a high level plan courtesy of our former president, now Secretary General. But I want to thank you for presenting the information on the focus areas and the necessity of having the lower level goals and tasks and stuff like that. We will be working on that in the over the next couple of months to get that together. I see that how that's going to be definitely beneficial to us in developing the membership in the National Federation. So thanks.
Good. Thank you, Eloy. Maybe one problem that some of your national federations have is very few members. And then you should focus on how we can increase the number of members we have. Oh, we only have 10 archers in my country, and that is because the total population in my country is 10,000, 100,000. Okay, you're still low because 10 people out of 100,000 is too few people. So you need to look at yourselves and say, are we happy with what we have? Is this the state of the federation we want to have in my country? Are we happy with being the last on every results list? Are we happy with not having coaches in our country? So think about what you're not happy with. And these may be your goals. These may be your focus areas. Anyone else? Any comments? I met with Phil and with Trina yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Okay. Trina and Phil are part of our development committee. And we had I would say, a great discussion on some of the topics that we've been dealing with today. And I would like to hear from Phil and Trina if they have anything that they'd like to add, because they are in contact with you. Though Phil lives in Florida and the United States, Phil is a Caribbean person. I mean, he's been everywhere in the Caribbean. He knows everyone. He knows the situation in every country. So it would be wonderful if we could get some input from them and anyone else. This is your opportunity. If there's any other federation who would like to say something before Phil and Trina, you're welcome.
Can you hear me? Can anybody hear me? Hello?
Is that you, Patrick?
Yes, I'm sorry, I'm outdoors over in a session as well. Well, we're currently redeveloping our programs as well. Myself and Mr. George, we're going to be working together since we're such close neighbors, we're going to be working together to do some inter-island tournaments as well. So I sent Phil like a draft, and when we get it finalized, we'll update everyone. But I'm sorry, but I'm in a training session right now with about 10 kids.
Patrick, I read what you sent Phil, and that's not a strategic plan.
No, I know it's not a strategic plan. What I'm saying is that we're working on some other things as well.
That you sent Phil can be a task of the plan, but it is not the plan itself. So the plan has to be designed by the National Federation. I know you wear many hats in your country. You're basically coaching now, but it has to come from the National Federation, considering your suggestions and maybe suggestions coming from a few other people in your country. Phil, and then Trina. Phil, please.
Well, I was gonna let Trina go first because the lady.
Okay.
And please go, Trina.
Well, Sergio, first of all, thank you for this webinar. I mean, I know that Bermuda has done their strategic plan, and I saw some things that we can enhance on as well. And of course, the journey is always one that's never ending, especially if you want to achieve those goals, and there's always the next goal that's coming up. You know, for us in Bermuda, we are a small federation, but size shouldn't stop us from achieving all the things that we can do. It's going to be the timing and the prioritization that's going to be so important for us to be successful. And many of us on this call today working together to achieve the common goal. I mean, we can share experiences and information that's going to help us all get there with success, which brings the success for the overall strategic plan of World Archery Americas. So I'm happy to be a part of this. I'm enjoying this sport, like I'm sure many of you are as well. And from a development committee perspective, we're here. Ludus isn't here with us today, who's our other partner with Phil. We're enjoying this. We're here to help you. And if we don't have the answers, we're going to look for them for you.
Yeah, Trina is the Secretary General of the Bermuda Archery. Is it association or federation?
Association.
Okay, the Bermuda Archery Association is a small federation, as most of your federations are. But maybe you have read on our list of webinars, there will be one on managing small federations. And Trina will be running that one. I mean, it would be great to have like maybe Mary Emmons do that, but Mary Emmons does not work for a small federation. So she can help, she can contribute ideas, but the reality is different. So we want people who have the experience running a small federation, explain to other people who are trying to run a small federation as well, what her federation has done, so that you can learn from best practices. For sure, we will have people from big countries also attending that, but the good thing is that you're going to hear from somebody who has gone through the same challenges that you're now facing in small countries like Trina's. Okay, I can't remember now when it will be, Trina. I think it's going to be later in the year.
It's October, I believe it is.
October,
yes.
Now, so this is, I think it will be before the CDC. Is that right, Trina? I think so.
Yes.
It is, yes.
So at the meeting I had with Trina and Phil 2 days ago, we discussed that we would like to have a meeting with our English-speaking Caribbean federations at the CDC. And I'm planning to go as well. So we will meet with you and discuss maybe a list of different governance issues that you may have and provide you with some assistance. But we will not be able to solve all of your problems. First of all, you need to understand what your problems are. You need to prioritize which ones you want to solve first. Maybe if you solve problems 1, 2, and 3, you will not need to think about solving problems 4, 5, and 6, because since you solved the most important ones, the other 3 will be easy, and they will solve themselves by themselves. Phil?
Yes, and you've already covered a couple of the points that I was going to talk about, Sergio. But let me also say, in collaboration with everybody, is that I always say this, and we just laid it out on how to do this plan. And process equals outcome, and process is what we're talking about here. We talk about process and the shooting process when we talk to archers, and where the arrow hits the target is the outcome. It's the same thing here. We can hit the target that we're looking at with small federations. And one of the things that I've experienced in all my travels to all the different countries is that the communication component to your national federations and your Olympic committees are key to your success and moving forward. One of the things that I've done, and I've met with almost every country's Olympic committee, whenever I've gone there to do meetings and seminars, we always, as a part of respect to the organization as well, as we try to set up a meeting as the World Archery Americas Federation representative is in their country, and we try to talk about similarities. And one of the big things that I've been pushing is identifying shared resources. And what I mean by that, with the small countries, you don't have the physiologists and the psychologists. You don't have, the facilities, but there are other sports that do within your countries. Even the small countries, when you look at Bermuda, Barbados, Jamaica, they got very strong programs in the area of track and field. They have very strong programs for cricket. I don't know why they play cricket, but I don't want to get into that. but they play soccer. But those are, and we did this with Trina's Island, that we reached out so that her athletes can go and use the shared resources under the Olympic Committee. And many of the Olympic committees that I've been dealing with and discussing like that idea. They like the idea of sharing their resources, because somebody had to justify that expenditure to create that special capability, especially in the physiology and nutritionists and all these things. That ophthalmologists, these are another people that how many of your athletes have eye problems and you really don't know it until you have them checked out. And so that's what I'm saying, and what we're talking about. All this is integrated. All this is all part of the plan that Sergio has presented today, and the discussion on how to put it together. We're here to help. Myself and my committee members, we're always available, and we do reach out. We reach out to mostly all of you, and I myself reach out to mostly everybody that's on this meeting. And we are moving forward. We are the Continental Federation that is leading the world in world archery. And we've got some great accomplishments, and the future is very bright. It is extremely bright. The school program that has now gone over to Mary and Rod from the Easton Foundation is a wonderful platform, and they know I'm one of the biggest champions of putting archery in the schools, because that is the essence of the foundation of our future. It really is. We don't have the structures like we have in Little League baseball and soccer and everything else. We have to create our future. We have to take that responsibility. And so I've been happy. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I'm looking at all the folks that are on this meeting. And I remember a time, and Sergio will say the same thing. We used to get 3 or 4 people on the meeting, and that was it. Now. We really got something to be optimistic about and excited about. Sergio.
Thank you, Phil. I have 3 final comments to make. Number one is, some of you have said that you have your own plans already, or that you're working against your plans. I'm sorry, you're working in preparation of your plans. Now, we would like to invite you to compare what you have against what we have presented in this.
Está dirigido a las acciones de los directivos de las federaciones por bebida.
Okay, somebody here, I need to mute.
Pero la pregunta es,
Okay, now, if what you have does not look similar to what we have presented today, we're going to have the same problem that I indicated in one of my first slides. You don't have a plan. You don't have a strategic plan. You have something else. You have a document. I read a long plan that was uploaded onto Warriors by one of our Spanish-speaking federations, and it details how many arrows the archers shoot in every training session. That's not a strategic plan. That's probably a training plan or something. So please compare what you have, with what we have presented today. If it does not look similar, if you do not comply with the most general requirements, that is what you need to have, you don't have a plan. Now, second thing, if you're not sure, send us your plan, send us what you have, and we will appoint someone. If it's English speaking, we already have 2 or 3 people who will do that, which I will tell later. And in Spanish, we're working for a couple of other people who can do the same, because we are offering this service to our members. They were talking about membership services. So we offer this service to you. We want to help you. reach your goals. That is what Archery Americas is trying to do. But we can do as much as we can, but there's no commitment at national level. If you do not really understand the importance of having a plan, you're not going to be able to reach any goals. Okay? And the last thing I want to say is that I would like you to make sure that all of your members know that we're having hundreds of webinars this year on many topics, many. So please distribute the information. Allow everyone to know when we have what topic in our webinars. This is for everyone to attend, not for National Federation presidents only. And the link to attend the webinars is published now on our website. In the section Development, you click on there and you go down, you have the list of all the webinars and then the link to join. It's the same link for all the webinars. We're going to have one on the structure of a National Federation Judges Committee. So that's very important. We're going to discuss with them what they need to do, what they need to have. So make sure your people attend, because I'm happy that only one national federation was absent from the English-speaking federations. All of the others are here, and I hope this was useful. So still, if you have questions, we will be happy to answer them. You can reach out to me or to Phil or to Trina or the three of us. And then if we don't know the answer, as Trina said, we will redirect you to where you can get the answer. We have someone in the Archery office who's very, say, efficient in communication with us in the Americas, and that's Cecilia. If you have questions that have to do with, Archery as such, not Archery Americas, reach out to her. Do not wait till we go and knock at your door. You need to knock at our doors because you need us, and we're very, very happy to help. Okay? Anything else? Any comments? We will upload the recording. We'll send you the presentation for you to have. Well, I want to wish you a wonderful end of the weekend. And we'll see some of you in Medellin in about a week, a few others in Santo Domingo at the Central American Caribbean Games qualifier. Also, some of you will be in Paraguay at the Pan American Junior Games. Later in the year, some of you will be in Korea. I got my ticket yesterday. My God, how many hours from here? Some others will be in Trinidad. By the way, I distributed the invitation to the CDC 2 days ago. If you have questions about anything having to do with the local organization of the event, reach out to the Trinidad and Tobago Archery Federation. If the questions have to do with more general matters concerning the CDC, you can talk to Phil, who's a technical delegate. You can talk to me, to whoever you believe can give you an answer. But we hope to be able to have the biggest CDC ever this year. And maybe, Mary, you can also advertise it in the US. There may be some archers who want to go. Sometimes we've had people from the United States. So thank you again. And if there's no one else who would like to say something, we're going to call it a day for you because I have another meeting in 1 hour. And thank you again for your participation. Bye-bye.
Thank you,
All right,
everybody.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Okay.
everyone.
Happy Mother's Day to
Bye.
the mothers on the call.
Oh, yes.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Yes,
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day to the mothers out there for
Especially the ones
tomorrow.
that know how to make cookies.
Bye, Phil.
She knows who I'm talking to.